What is good, guys? It is Reed and welcome back to another video. Today I have a very special video. I'm going to be teaching you a brand new creation of mine. It is a fantastic, super practical force called the cut-less force. Now this force is loosely related to the cut deeper force, and I created it and was inspired by the cut deeper force. I wanted to find something that was a little bit more natural, that only took one cut instead of the two cuts to achieve the same effect. So I started playing with it and I realized it actually has a lot of really neat applications that are different. The spectator does the force to themselves with the cards in their hand the whole time, and it's just one cut and it feels absolutely amazing. Now, this is one of those forces that I will be honest, it's one of those things that's so good and feels so obvious that I'm like, someone must have already came up with this. Now, I've done my research, I've shown it to some of my good magician friends. No one has seen it, so if you do know it and you have a bigger magic knowledge base than me, please let me know in the comments and I'll make those changes accordingly. But for now, it is called the cut-less force, and I hope you guys love it. Stick around to the end of the video because I will be sharing a really fun effect that you can do with this in the other ideas section and showing you a bonus idea that's really, really neat. So with all that said, guys, if you would like to check out some private lessons, you can at the link below. If you'd like to see more videos like this, don't forget to like, comment, all that good stuff, and let's jump into the video. All right, guys, let me show you a quick demo on the cut-less force. So the cards can be shuffled, handed to the spectator, and in their own hands, you invite them to cut the cards wherever they'd like. Let's say they cut right here. You're gonna flip that over to mark the position that they cut to. Now you can invite them in their own hands to spread through to the first face down card that they arrive at, which is the card that they cut to. They can place that down. And just like that, you have actually forced on them the card of your choosing, in this case, the Jack of Hearts. So time for the breakdown on the cut-less force. I hope you guys liked that little demo. So this is a very practical, very useful, and very cool force. It's one of those forces that are kind of rare, sort of like the cut deeper force or the cross-cut force, where the spectator actually kind of forces the card on themselves in their own hands. So it feels very fair and very free. Now this was based on the cut deeper force. The cut deeper force was a way to force the top card, where they would cut the cards once, then they would cut deeper and turn it over a second time, and now the first face down card that they spread to will be that top card. Now, there are some great ways to justify this flipping, but I always didn't like having to do it twice. So I wanted to come up with a way so you could only have to cut the cards and flip it one time. So this is what I've came up with. Now, I'd say the downside to this versus the cut deeper force is that the cut deeper force, there's no real setup besides having the force card on top. This one there is a bit of a setup, but you can do it on the fly still, and I will show you how to do that. So for the setup, you're gonna take your force card, you're gonna deal 4 cards face up on top of it, and then 1 card face down, okay? And that is your stack that goes on top of the deck. So it should look like all of the deck face down, and then you have a cover card, 4 random cards, and then your force card. And that's all you really need to do. There's not much to teach with this force. That's what you do. The only important things now are the psychology and what you say to justify the actions. So again, you can now do a shuffle. You can just kind of strip off the bottom and then throw it back on the bottom to keep the top in order. You could do a full deck false riffle shuffle if you wanted, like that. Believe it or not, the cards are still in order, even though it looked a little ugly. There are lots of options. Then you can hand the deck to the spectator and have them hold it. Now, you might be thinking, well, all they have to do is move this top card and they'll see this stack. If that were to happen, it's no big deal. You could just say that, oh, I must have forgot to turn these cards around, or somehow they got turned, and then literally you would just flip them back over, moving the force card to the top, and then take that top cover card and push it in somewhere. Now you have the force card on the top, and you can do a different force with it. But to go back into our setup, we're gonna take, with the force card on top, we're gonna flip 5 face up, and then put 1 face down cover card on top, and that'll get us in position. Now the number of cards that you put above the force card could be less. You could do 2, 3, but realistically I feel like 4 is the perfect sort of middle ground, and you'll see why in a minute. So you do want to hand them this and have them hold it. I just say hold it tight, and that kind of makes them hold it like this, and it should keep that card from kind of slipping. If you have a new deck, yes, it could kind of slip around like that, so it is a bit better if the deck's a bit broken in. But again, it's fine, and in 99% of cases, it's gonna fly and this card won't be moved. Now you're gonna instruct them to carefully cut wherever they'd like, so they reach down and they cut, and you tell them to flip that top packet over on the other one. So it depends, you know, how they're gonna do this. They might, most people will go like this, they might kind of go like this, but regardless, they shouldn't then flash this. And all they need to do is turn that over. Now, why are we having them turn it over? I usually just say to mark the position of where you cut to, and then we'll get back to it in a minute. And then I just fill in this space with a little bit of time delay. So it does depend on the routine you're doing, but usually I will just say, you know, you're gonna flip it to cut to mark the position that you cut to, then I'll have them set the deck down or continue holding on to it, and I'll say, think about that. The deck was shuffled, and you had a free choice, all in your own hands, you cut wherever you want. And that's all you need to say to put a little bit of time delay. Now you can invite them to spread through the cards. So you say spread through and just take out that first face down card that you want to. Now again, the risk here, there is one card, the cover card, that is now face up, face the wrong way. But that's why I choose to have 4 cards face down. So you have a fair amount of cards that they can spread before they reveal that card. And that's what I feel is the kind of happy medium here. You can do it with less, but now they spread through, and that first face down card is gonna be our force card, and then there's gonna be those extra few cards to make it seem like the entire deck is face down, which most of it is. There's just one that's facing this way. So they're gonna remove that card, and you can have them flip the rest of the deck back. Now, one thing you have to remember is spectators, they're not very good at spreading, so they often kind of spread like this, like very small. So once they see that face down card, there's really not a risk that they're gonna keep going until they hit this one, right? You can kind of control them too. Once they kind of get there, you can just say, okay, stop there, take out that face down card, and you're done, right? You can even reach in, kind of stop them and pull it out for them and set it down, and then kind of help them turn this over just to make sure they don't flash that. And that's it. That's really how you execute the force. Now you might be thinking, what do I do with this face up card? Because there is gonna be, you know, a face up card that's left here. What I would do, honestly, is either just cut to it, right? It's gonna behave as a breather now, so you can just always cut to it because it's flipped the other way, and your deck will have a kind of a natural bow, so you can cut it to the bottom and then half pass it the right way. That's an option. Or just forget about it and clean it up once the trick is done. Again, if the card needs to be cleaned up for the middle of the trick for whatever reason, you can go through, maybe call that card to the bottom and then half pass it the right way. There are tons of options, but it's really not a big deal. Don't run when you're not being chased sort of situation. Now, in the other ideas section, you'll see how we can actually use this in another effect, and I will get to that in the other ideas. But now let's talk about some subtleties with this. Mostly this is going to be psychology, and I think the important psychological aspects of this are to just iterate that the cards were kind of shuffled, even if you did the shuffling, and to really make them feel like this is a free choice and they could have had any cards. So in this case, if I'm forcing the 9 of spades, you know, I'd shuffle, I'd give them the deck, and I'd say, really cut wherever you want. It can be a few cards, a lot of cards, but you cut to the exact card wherever it feels right. They'll lift up, and then this is also an important subtlety, you know, tell them to flip over. We're gonna mark the cards for later. Now, another justification when they cut is to use that flip to show them that they could have cut anywhere. So what you would say is, okay, cut the cards, and then you gesture at this card. You say, all right, so that's the card you cut to, but flip the deck over and place it on top for a second, and they'll do that. And you say, but you could have cut to this card, right? One less and you would have cut on this card. One more, you would have cut to any of these cards. And now you just say spread through and take out the first face down card that you are at. Right, so now instead of saying, oh, we're gonna mark the position of the cut, you're just saying, now that's gonna be the card you cut to, but flip over the deck for a second, because if you would have cut one less card, you might have cut to the 4 of spades, 2 less, the 9 of spades. You could have cut to any one of these cards, but you actually cut to that card specifically. So I really like that. In a lot of routines, I use that instead because it actually does work better. The other important subtleties are just saying things like hold the deck tight, and you know, carefully cut the packet, and that just makes sure that they don't kind of go like this when they cut, and they're less sloppy, right? You can kind of gesture too and show them what you want them to do. You can say just reach down like this, and you just kind of mime this, reach down like this, and just cut wherever you'd like. You could just kind of do that for them, and now they'll come like this. You can have them flip that packet over, and it keeps everything square. And then when they're going through here, just say slowly spread through till you reach that first face down card, and that'll prevent them from going super fast and over pursuing and hitting that card too early. And then of course, once the card's selected, it's important to emphasize how free of a choice it was. They cut the cards wherever they want in their own hands, the deck was shuffled, and all that good stuff. Now, in terms of some other ideas, I want to share with you guys an amazing effect that you can actually do where you actually can force 2 cards using just this one force, and how you can actually actually turn this into an effect or a 2-card force, and you could use this in a couple different ways. But first, I want to show you how you can set this up on the fly. So honestly, the easiest way I've found to set up this force on the fly, and please let me know in the comments if you have a better way, but it's to just kind of do it, right? There's, you know, you could shuffle cards to the bottom and half pass this and then flip the bottom card and half pass. I think the best way is to just have your force card on top, casually thumb off and get a break under 6 cards, and just, you know, in the off moment, just kind of tilt it towards you and quickly flip them, right? Or you can drop the cards at your side and use your leg to kind of flip them like this covertly. I don't know if you guys kind of are familiar with that, but I'll show you on my side here. You just use your break and you do this, but you do that kind of against your leg on the side of your body. But really you're just gonna kind of flip them and then take that top card and quickly flip it again, and then you're set up, right? So again, force card on top, casually count off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, get a break, flip once, flip twice, just the single, and you are in position. So for the effect, to use this to force 2 cards, it's very, very simple. And I use this as actually a great fun, you know, self-contained little effect. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take out 2 mates. So in this case, I'll take out the Jack of Hearts and the Jack of Diamonds. Now the initial force card goes in the same position. So you're gonna take it, you're gonna deal 4 face-up cards on top, all right? That goes on top of your deck. But now the second force card is just the cover card, okay? Whatever the second card is that you want to force, you put as your cover card. So exact same setup, force card number 2, 4 face-up cards, and then the first force card. Exact same thing, you invite them to cut the deck, flip it over, they could have cut to this card or any of these cards, and they're going to spread through and take out their first face down card, and then flip the rest of the deck over. So now we have forced on them the first force card. Well, the second force card is actually that one face down card in the deck now, the one that, oh, I must have missed it. There we go, it's that one that was the cover card is now face up. So think about this. There's several different ways you can handle this. You can use this as a setup for the fan force that I've taught on the channel, where you would need a card reversed and then the spectator reverses a card and it makes it seem like that was the card they reversed, so that's a great option. Or I like to use it as a bit of a magical effect where I remind them now that, you know, mates exist, where there's a 2 of hearts, 2 of diamonds, 4 of clubs, 4 of spades, and I say I'm going to try to get the sense of what your card is, and then I do a magical gesture to make it seem like I'm magically making a card flip over, and then the one card in the deck that is flipped happens to be the mate of their card. You could also do this as a prediction. You could say, now think about that, you cut anywhere, but before we started I actually flipped over one card in this deck as a bit of a prediction. I flipped over the Jack of Diamonds and you cut to the Jack of Hearts. It's a really, really fun effect, a lot of room for presentational adjustments and changes, but I like to use it as either a prediction or kind of a mates sort of tricks. So I think it's a really, really fun trick, and there's a way to force 2 cards with this one force. Alright guys, that is it for the cut less force. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. This was a fantastic tutorial. One of my favorite new little fun moves to play with. It's a really fun force, really fair feeling, really practical. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys use it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know what you thought of that last little effect, because it is a lot of fun as well. Now, if you guys would like any help with this effect or any other of my effects, card magic, mentalism, anything, if you want help with the cull, whatever it is, you can hit me up for a private lesson, link in the description. Absolutely love working with you guys. And I want to thank all the new subscribers. Welcome. I really appreciate all your support. And with all that said, guys, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.